Question just on depression specifically, just because you touched on it a lot, and even I know a ton of students that are struggling with it, and so many of my friends are struggling with it. And just had a question, even like you're saying, sometimes we can get out of the pain, but that's what God wants to use to get us to change. But for depression, I know sometimes I've heard some people that I'm close to say like that you can get so stuck in depression that you feel like you can't change.
That's right.
And so then medication can help you at least get above it to then be able to do the steps to get healthy.
Sure.
What would you agree with that or disagree with that, or what do you think?
Well, it's one of those things that takes some wisdom, doesn't it? Because some people are going through a time, and later on we'll talk about suicide and stuff, where they're just not able to function, and they may need a medication to get them through a tough time, or they have genetic brain problems, like ADHD, which is low dopamine, and they can't focus, so medication will may be necessary. But the problem is our medical system, they don't have time in these visits to go through all that stuff. They just see a symptom and they medicate it, see, and they don't know why it's there, see. But sometimes depression is a bad feeling. It's going to motivate me to do things that are not going to be depressed anymore. So I always, want to work with a client is let's try some behavioral things first. Get them exercising, getting, finding some gifts, and we'll talk about this in just a second, okay? So, okay.
One more selfish one. So, I'm watching anxiety be, the most dominant feeling that
Speak up a little bit.
I'm watching anxiety be in people's lives the most dominant feeling that people
Right.
are feeling. Just walk me through, how you would help and navigate somebody navigating anxiety around
Sure.
either they're not feeling like they're good enough, or they can't control, or they're worried about bad things are going to happen, or almost 75% of my conversations, people are navigating anxiety. So can you just help me
Well,
navigate?
you got to ask the right question. See, it's not giving advice, it's asking the right question. So anxiety and stress are other words for fear. So you just ask, what are you afraid of? In order to produce anxiety, you have to believe something bad's going to happen. So once again, I think the main belief system that I found in working with people on anxiety is that I'm not enough. All the things, the expectations of myself and the expectations of others, and I don't have the energy, I don't have the, I'm going to fail. I'm not enough, okay? And because of this belief system, what are we doing to get extra energy? Look at 20, 30 years ago. Now there's a Starbucks on every corner. There's all sorts of, Red Bull things. And try to get more energy, to keep up these like the carrot with a donkey sort of thing, this never-ending expectations of myself. And most of the time, it's only expectations of myself, because people's worth are based on their performance, and especially with women and their relationships. Okay, we'll get to codependency later on. Okay? And especially working with women, they seem to have more of a problem with anxiety, right? And so, what do women worry about? Come on, you is one.
You're asking me?
Yeah.
What do I worry about? Probably the health and safety of my kids.
Right.
Being there, doing a good job. I
Right.
mean, I think women just talk about it more. I think men probably have just as much anxiety,
Yeah.
but women express it more.
Yeah, women worry about relationship. When I'm doing, a seminar, I'll say, so what do women worry about? And they all instantly said, like they were programmed, said everything. I know, but I mean, that's the instant thing. We worry about everything, see? And so, but you look at why do you worry? This is important, okay? You look at Matthew 6, we talked a little bit about that, Don't be anxious about the Pharisees, money, all this kinds of stuff. What you're going to wear, what you're going to eat, see? Okay? So, so we worry, which is like money to a cocaine addict, right? It's a means to create anxiety, because anxiety gives us energy, and neurochemically, it's almost identical to cocaine. So you think you could get addicted to it? And when I work, like 90% of the people we do this double bind exercise to get, to get to this belief system, right? They realize that anxiety gives them energy. And if they didn't have that energy, they would be depressed. They wouldn't be able to get anything done, and people would leave them. This is unconscious, you see. That makes sense. So anxiety, in many cases, is a means of outrunning depression. And it's just the same as using an amphetamine. So this is where you go with anxiety, we call it name the sucker. Okay? So what do you believe? What are you afraid of that is producing anxiety? You have to believe something to create emotions. Okay? And that's where we ignore the symptom and try and go after the cause. Anxiety is just is it a cause or is it a symptom? It's a symptom of what? Okay? In most of the cases, it's undoable expectations of myself and others. And so that's going to make you anxious. And use that because you get energy to it. And now, because the other side of anxiety is depression, right? And so if you stop the anxiety, you're going to feel the depression because you're getting energy from chemicals rather than calories. And when you run out of those neurochemicals, okay, then it takes at least 2 or 3 days for your amygdala in your brain and all that to, not the amygdala, nucleus accumbens, okay, to produce more dopamine so you can hit the track running again. And so you'll see a pattern with a lot of people. They'll go like 2-3 weeks of just running, anxiety, and then they just crash for the weekend and sit and watch TV and eat junk food and try and reboot so Monday they can hit the track running again.
So, like this would go to the stagnation part. Let's say somebody they've got the sucker named and they know it, but now they're like, I know who it is, I know what it is, I don't know what to do about it. Like, how would you help somebody navigating that? Like, I have these irrational fears. I have these things that I can't be in control of. I don't feel like I can accomplish everything that I want to accomplish, the pressure that I put on myself. So I've got the thing named. I still don't know how to wrestle it to the ground.
Well, this is one of the goals of the Genesis groups. I keep going back there, but these are one of the goals, that we would recognize these symptoms. This is from the Change Group book, right? And then, look at what is the message in these emotions? And then with support and accountability, what we talked about recovery is identifying your fears, okay, which are these distorted belief systems, and then moving towards them with support and accountability. If you do that, I guarantee you will change. See?
That's good.
Yeah.
Sorry, Michael, can you say that one thing again real quick? Did you say that anxiety's root is unmanageable expectations on myself and others?
Yeah, sometimes it could be, of an atomic bomb,
Yeah.
But I mean, in my experience, okay, in working with clients, especially with the women, and men too, workaholics, right? They have, there's several, I won't go there. That's a lot of reasons for that. But, it's these expectations I have of myself that, that I'm going to fail, and especially for others, that I'm going to fail others, and especially for women, because women's main priority is relationships. And so they worry, mostly about relationships because, that's their gifting. And so many times, we find out that our strength is also our weakness. Compassion is a strength, but it can also be my weakness. And in the next session, we'll get to that, okay?
Is that where we're getting to, like, even double bind stuff? Even explaining, like, the double bind is like, I'm anxious, And I view it as it protects me from bad things happening. And I have stories in my past of when I've worried about something and I
Right.
was prepared for it, so it helped me avoid it. So it's actually something that I lean on as a strength, and it's the damned if I do, damned if I don't. Like if I don't worry about it and something's bad going to happen, if I do worry about it, then it protects me from it. But it also like stagnates me in the moment because I'm worried all the time.
I won't spend too much time on this because we're going to run out of time. But you see, anxiety is an important subject to everybody. See? So in the double bind exercise, is basically, we're not doing that here because it takes too much time to teach. But you would say, okay, what's your problem? Anxiety, okay? And then we ask the right question, right? So what would happen? What would you experience if you just gave up anxiety? It wasn't there anymore. There's the belief system. And most people say, oh, I'd just be wonderful and all that, But what we know we teach in Genesis counseling is we only do things, no matter how terrible they are, or how destructive they are, that we believe somewhere that we benefit from it. Okay? As human beings, we only do things that we believe we're going to benefit from it, whether it's drugs, alcohol, or altruism and good things, you see. Exercise, or overeating. The same thing there. Okay.